anytime, any day. Why not right now? Stop looking up to your boss and start being your own boss. Don't work for paychecks. Work for dreams with no regrets. This is Cracking the Entrepreneur Code. If you have the passion, we'll create the blueprint. Now, your host. You know him from his 7 tips to build the business you always wanted, and now you're about to hear a lot more. Jack H.M. Wong.
So welcome. You know what? This is the part 2. I have Shirlene Reeves coming on board again because you remember in part 1, we talk about the concept of sales. And selling is so important, so critical. And many times we said that it's so important not to push people to buy. In fact, a lot of people actually don't like to sell because they have been sold where salespeople who are pushy, sleazy, force them to make a decision right on the spot. And you know what, Shirlene, the expert of hard selling, tell us that, well, you don't need to do that. We just didn't have the opportunity last time in part 1 to allow Shirlene to elaborate this further. So with her consent and agreement, we quickly come up with something which is now part 2. And part 2, we now can dive into a little bit more details about the concept of hard selling conversation. So, Shirlene, we ended up in part 1 about concept of selling, that you don't need to sell for the sake of selling. So if we can remind our audiences once again, what is hard selling conversation and why you are so effective in teaching your clients to sell, to create the income for themselves, to enjoy their life. Why are you so effective in doing that? What do you do actually?
Well, because I've listened to entrepreneurs who run from networking group to networking group, and they spend a lot of money because they'll buy breakfast, lunch, dinner, and they keep trying and trying and trying. But the biggest challenge that they have is, number one, they don't know how to talk about what it is that they do succinctly. And the other thing is they don't know how to open a conversation, a sales conversation with the people at the event. So by the time they're done and they add up their expenses for the year, they spent a fortune in networking but got no business to cover that fortune. And so many entrepreneurs have told me that story, which is why I said, okay, well, I guess I need to step in and teach them how to sell without rejection. And that's usually their biggest fear, is rejection. You probably know that, Jack.
Well, because you are the expert, so I will let the expert mention. But of course, I echo what you said. Rejection is the number one fear of many people who are into selling, because how many of you actually would like to say to have received a no from people? I don't like it. But you know what? The beautiful thing about learning how to sell effectively is to accept that in a selling situation, there are only 2 outcomes. One is a yes, one is a no. What's the big deal of receiving a no? Do you agree, Shirlene? This is one of the very profound, I don't understand. Of course, now on hindsight, I can say it very, very easily. But imagine when we first started, when my prospect said, after lengthy conversation, I'm sorry, I have to think about it. In my mind, I shoot myself down. What did I do? Is my conversation not effective? They don't get my point? Or why are they saying no to me? Is that all sorts of little voices coming in and they start accumulating? And then I learned to fact that, oh my God, Jack Wong, you are not an effective salesperson, because the moment you get a no, you are done.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to teach you a way to never get a no. Would you like that?
Go ahead, please. I would love to learn. I will be your student.
Okay. So I trademarked this, my 3-step sales waltz. And that's all it is. It's just 3 simple steps. So when we're at a networking group, one of the biggest challenges is we hand each other a card and then we say, I do this, blah, blah, blah. And then this person says, I do this, blah, blah, blah. They hand you a card and you have no idea what they do, right?
Yes.
You can't know. So step 1 is all about learning about the other person. And I go over this in my book, Selling Through Your Heart, word by word on how to deal with it. Now, I'm not giving you a script because this is authentic. So, Jack, can I do a bit of role play with you?
Oh, yes, role play.
Okay.
It's something I love.
So I don't know you at all. And I walk up to you and I say, hey, Jack, it's so great to meet you. I'm Shirlene. I'm glad you're here. And you say?
I would say, well, it's my pleasure to meet you here too.
Right. And then I say to you, tell me about you, Jack. How are you doing with your business?
Well, actually, I have been doing my business in the last 7 years. Life was good at one time because I stepped out of the rat race and moved to the entrepreneurship world, thinking that there will be this thing called the time and money freedom. I mean, that is the dream of a lot of entrepreneurs, I believe, but especially for myself because my kids 7 years ago were still young. They need my attention. And in the world of so-called a lot of homemakers who are mummies, and I become one of the minorities who are the daddies, the home daddies. And I'm the one fetching the kids to school, taking them out when necessary, sending them to tuition class. And at the end of the day, I realized that, well, if I miss this opportunity, it's gone. There's nothing that I can get back the time. So I was very happy with the first few years of the journey. And then he's got a problem. So should I stop?
So
you're about to ask
share your problem. What problem did you experience?
Yeah. So I need to, first of all, let the audiences know that this is not rehearsed. There was no idea or discussion of role playing before. And Shirlene doesn't pay me to say what I have to say. You have to understand that it's purely a genuine, like treat it as a normal coaching session, okay? Listener, viewers.
That's right.
That, okay, yeah? Okay, so back to the point.
Okay.
Now, you know what? Until a few years later, what happened was that I stumbled upon a very important issue. The issue is that I got just too much assignments, contracts on hand. And I learned in the past, my parents, my teachers said to me that if there's opportunity, just grab it. Because if you miss it, it may not come back. So what happened is that I learned not to say no. Everything I just learned to say yes, yes, yes. I don't care what is the price or the service charge they can get. I just say yes first and figure out what is the charge later. So I ended up with a very funny situation. I won't say funny, but I don't have another word for that. That is like, I have so many jobs on my plate and I couldn't deliver and I couldn't even have a good bread. So I said, that's going to stop. That's going to stop. So for me, it is important to learn to say the word NO. No, it's not easy. It is very, very tough at the very beginning for me.
So that must have been a real golden nugget for you then, right? Because you learned a very important lesson in doing that. And so many coaches tell you to say yes every time you're asked. Yeah. But I think a yes has to be weighed against whatever your needs are and your family needs are so that you could take care of your children, right?
Yeah, that's right. And it's not easy. It's not easy to say. And I need to time out for a little bit. I want to pretend that I don't know how to say no, so that let's have this conversation.
Okay.
Pretend that I don't. So let's pretend that I don't know how to say no. So you know what, Shirlene, I really don't know how to say no because for me, I consider myself, I'm not a very nice person to start with, but I learned that if I say no, the client may go to another place to seek the other person's help. So the client will not come back to me. So therefore, I lose a client. And I don't want that. So life is not that important.
Wow. I was just thinking as you were talking, and I have a really great idea for you. And, because we're at a networking group, we don't have a lot of time together. And I'd really like to connect with you again in the next day or two. Would you be willing to do that, Jack?
Okay. When would that
be? We don't have to, we could just meet on Zoom or whatever you want to do. I love to have tea and talk on Zoom. Okay. And we could just get to know each other a little better and talk about this challenge that you have saying no.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. So how would I reach out to you in about 2 days and we can set something up? Would that be okay for you?
Well, I'm free tomorrow.
Oh, you're free tomorrow?
Yep.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you may I get your card from you? I'd really appreciate it. And then what time tomorrow would you like to connect? I'll check and see if I have the time available.
Let's make it at 6 p.m. Would it be
6
okay with
p.m.
you? 6 p.m.?
Okay. I think 6 p.m. is probably pretty good for me. So
Okay.
I will reach out to you on Zoom. I'll send you my link.
Okay.
And then you could just click on the link and we'll be together.
Are
Sound
you-
good?
Sounds good, but are you charging me?
No, not a thing. We're just going to get to know each other.
Okay. Sounds good to me then.
Okay. All right. I'll see you tomorrow night at 6 p.m.
Thank you. I'll
Now,
talk to you tomorrow.
You notice you never got a chance to ask me what it is that I do, right?
Yes, correct. I got no chance to throw back a question to Shirlene because Shirlene controls the conversation all the time. And you know the beautiful thing about what Shirlene does? And I just let the secret a little bit out. Shirlene objective is achieved because many coaches actually will just say, well, I have a session. Well, if you are free, come and talk to me. I'll wait for you. The notice that you say, I will wait for you to call. But what Shirlene has done, she secured the appointment, making sure that I'm fine. I'll be able to show up at that time. So she controls the conversation from beginning to the end. And of course, for me, I kind of know what Shirlene is doing because I've been in this line for so long. I can deconstruct. But I let our expert explain why this selling technique is so effective and what exactly you have done.
Well, first of all, I've made a new friend that I hadn't made before. I connected with you from the heart because I listened to what you had to say and I listened to your concerns, and you probably felt heard and understood. And I didn't jump in and try to say what I did, because as soon as you jump in as the person that is controlling the conversation, then you've lost that person. And I know that because it's happened to me time and time again, and it took time to learn how to do this. And the thing about it is that now I want you, Jack, to shoot back to me. Oh, tell me what you do.
Oh, okay. So Shirlene, what do you do actually?
Well, Jack, I'd be happy to share that with you when we talk tomorrow. I just think that it's really important that we have the time together to get to know each other. And then I'm happy to share with you when we talk tomorrow. Would that be okay? Because then we have more time to meet other people here.
So there's a benefit for me because of more time. I can find more a bit of Shirlene. So it is kind of like irresistible for me to say a no. I can't say no to her. She's so nice. I mean, if I were to say, well, I can be a bastard, like bastard would say this. Bastard is like, why can't you tell me right now? Aren't you that? Are you very busy right now that you don't even have time to just describe what you do? If I'm the bastard in that case.
Well, you know what, Jack? I might not be the right person for you to talk to. You might want to find somebody else in this room.
No, I just want to find a little bit more about you. I'm not saying that I don't want to talk to you. I just want to find out a bit more about you.
Okay, so I am a business success coach and I work from my heart. So I only work with people who are heartfelt, who really care about each other and want to make a difference in the world. Would that be you, Jack?
See, got no chance to say no. Of course. I was like, yeah, of course. If not this, then what? Of course.
It's, you know what? You don't want to waste your time at a networking group trying to tell everybody what it is that you do. That's what everybody else does.
Yeah.
But when I say to you, how about we meet later? I might have an idea for you. Then you want to know what that idea is, correct?
That's right.
And that's why you're compelled to meet me at a time when it's more quiet and we can engage.
Yeah.
Then what I do is I ask you for your card, and then I write on the back of the card what the challenge is that Jack is having, so that when I meet him the following night, I can follow up with our conversation and start right away where we left off. Does that make sense?
Perfect. That's continuity. It's not a fake conversation where I just want to get your appointment and then I forgot about what I've said to you. So to me, that is genuine. It's genuine for Shirlene to be interested in the conversation.
That's right.
What I feel like coaches fail to do that part well is they just kind of like, okay, now that the prospect give them the appointment time, and they felt good, they celebrate, and they forgot one thing. What are the things to be discussed? What are the key things that you may have your networking session meeting quite a lot of people and you have tons of cards. Shirlene Reeves, Tom Hetz, Damien Wong. I mix up their identity. I don't know who are they. Actually, I cannot even remember what conversations I have with them. That's
right. That's right. And that's why you write it on the card.
Yep.
It's very important. So turn it over and write it on the back. And hopefully, and this is a little hint I'll give you. I mean, for the first time ever, this is my card. Mm-hmm. Okay. So for the first time ever, I've had to put my book on the back.
Ooh, okay? I love this. Yes.
But normally, before I wrote my book, I never had anything on the back because I wanted people to be able to write the things that I told them on the back of their own card. But then I realized nobody does that anyway, unless I've trained them. All my people do it.
Yes. That's true.
So, all right. So let's move on. So now we're at step 2, right? We just did step 1.
Yep.
And so now I've got Jack on Zoom. And we're sitting here and I go, hey, Jack, it's good to see you again. We had so little time to talk yesterday. Yep. And, I was really thinking about what you said and how you have such a difficult time saying no. Why do you suppose that is?
Well, for me, because the reason why I learned to say yes all the time, like I shared with you yesterday, is because my parents and my teachers have conditioned me to learn to say the word yes all the time, which means that if it is a yes all the time, logically speaking, it can't be a no. So that's how I have been conditioned over the years. And I also learned that at the startup, when I first started this business, there are only the handful of projects. So it's very easy to say yes because I can meet the demand for people very easily. But as I get more and more projects on my plate, it becomes harder and harder to say yes because suddenly I have so many projects on hand. I couldn't know which is more important because every single project is important. Every single project has a deadline called yesterday. So if I do not deliver one piece and make the clients upset, then I will lose a client at the expense of saying yes to another one. So I kind of have a sense of conflict. What should I do? Am I the bad guy or what's wrong with me? I don't know.
Well, first of all, there's nothing wrong with you. I'm not the bad guy. You just learned a very important lesson. And always remember that the children come first. That's why you're doing all of this, correct?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be doing this if you didn't want to take care of your children. So your children are number one. And when you're looking at these contracts, then you have so many that you can pick and choose the juiciest ones that make you the most money. Then you'll have time to be with the children because we need to think in the space of abundance, not lack. And taking on too much is all about lack. Would you agree?
Yeah, it makes sense. But nobody has talked about abundance in my life before. I mean, probably you are the first one who used the word abundance, which to me is like, oh my God, okay. Am I living in the world of scarcity? Well, I don't know because I just do what the client has told me to do and I just deliver. I mean, to me, I don't know that as scarcity.
But you don't need to work with everyone. You don't need to work with everyone. And I promise you, if you do a great job on the few really good potential clients that you choose, you'll receive plenty of referrals later on that will really make a difference. And what you want to do is get your contracts down to the perfect amount that works for you that allows you to still take care of the children and trust that you are going to receive more as you need them. But if you work from a place of lack, they're harder and harder to get, and you work harder and harder as well.
But it seems that everyone is like, my friends are all behaving the same way. They are all living in the world of lack. They told me that if you get a project, and if you bid successfully for a project, you should take it. Why don't you submit this project? You are stupid. It's like, to me, am I stupid? Of course not. That's why I bid for that project. I cannot be seen as a stupid person in front of my friends. That's not making me looking good.
Well, you know what I love about my clients is that when I work with them, over time, they understand abundance and how it flows into them so easily. And then they can become more discerning about what it is they choose to do. And you can do that too, so easily.
Is that really that easy?
It is easy. It is easy because when you receive that kind of information from our mastermind every week, you begin to think that way, and it changes the way you look at things. And I love Wayne Dyer's quote that says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And so just bring in a new perspective so that you can look at it differently, and then you'll be able to teach others about abundance and how you don't have to grab and try to get everything that you see. You can be discerning and pick what works for you best.
Sounds
and
good.
Maybe those are giving you longer deadlines, right? Longer deadlines so that you've got a chance to complete it.
Yep, sounds good to me. How do I get more information about this? You just mentioned a mastermind. Like, what is this? What is a mastermind?
Oh, well, that's a really great question, Jack, because I have a business platinum course and we have a mastermind every week for an hour. And you learn how to put programs together. You learn how to discern which are the best contracts for you and which aren't. And we will go through it together, you and I, before you ever bring mastermind, and talk about what those contracts are, what their deadlines are, and what works well for you and what doesn't. Then once we've had a chance to do that on one or two of them, you'll get a handle. You'll start looking through those contracts and say, this doesn't work for me. So, when that doesn't work for me in 3 strikes, it's out. Okay? But if it's a good contract, and you're getting enough money, it's got enough time for you to do the best work you can possibly do, and you can produce the way you want to produce so that it really makes a difference, that is the contract you want to take.
I see. So you are saying that this mastermind, I learned not to do every single contract or say yes to every single contract because I can choose.
In this mastermind, you will learn how to choose the best contracts instead of taking all contracts.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep, makes sense to me. Sounds good.
Okay.
So I guess the next question, where do I get more info about signing up for this mastermind?
Well, here's what I'd like you to do. I'm going to have you take a look at the class itself so you can see the bullets and what it is that I teach.
Okay.
And then you might want to watch some of my videos. I have a video blog and they're all 2 minutes. And it'll give you an idea of who I am as a coach. And then we could meet later and you could give me your feedback. What do you think?
But I just want to take action right now because I want to change my life. So am I supposed to watch all these videos first? Can I just pay for the mastermind?
You don't have to. If you want to take action right now, you certainly can. But you're the kind of guy that really wants to know the details. And if you just take action right now, you may not feel comfortable about the details. And I'd love for you to really do your homework because I want to make sure I'm the right coach for you before you say yes. And then we can meet again. Why don't you take about 3 days and digest it and watch what you want to watch or don't watch. And then we'll meet again in 3 days. How does that sound?
Okay. Sounds good to me. So can you
And you
send
know
me
what else I'll do? I'll do something special for you. I'll let you even sit in on a mastermind so you can get a feel for it. How would that be?
Oh, sounds good, of course. I can't say no to that.
Okay. So let's set up an appointment for 3 days from now. And we'll meet right here on Zoom again. And you can ask me your questions or maybe you'll know everything you want to know and just go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds good. I'll see you in 3 days' time.
All right. At this point, I would set the time with you, and then I would tell you to watch for my email, and then you'll just have links to click on to make it really easy for you.
Yep. So this is the completion of step number 2, I believe.
Exactly.
Shirlene controls the conversation.
Yep.
I had no chance to counteract. I was a bit naughty. I was asking whether I want to pay now. And most people at this point, the inexperienced coaches, oh, money comes in so easily. I can't believe that. I grab it. If you send something not right, which is what Shirlene senses it, and she actually know my type very well. That remember you asked it, since you are a person who need more details to process, to gather, to make decision, she didn't sell me on the spot. She in fact pushed me away, not one time, but 2 times. Go and watch the videos, go and study. And she said one thing, let's see whether we are a good fit working together. That's
absolutely
how an experienced coach is doing. Any things that you want to add on this? Because this is what I've seen. Of course, you are the expert. I'll let you say.
No, you did great, Jack. That's excellent observing. You did a really, really good job. And the reason I do that is twofold. Because if you jump and say, oh, okay, give me your credit card, then they don't have time to think it over. And then you get buyer's remorse. It's so much better if you hold the person off, let them see who you are as a coach or whatever it is that you do. But you got to have videos on your website because then they feel like they know you before they hire you. And let me tell you what videos do for you. If you don't have videos on your website, you need to seriously think about it. And I'm going to tell you a short story about what happened for me with that. There was a woman that came all the way from New Zealand. And I had no idea. She said, I'm going to be in San Diego. I'd love it if you'd show me around a bit. And, you know, people do that in San Diego because it's a destination area and they want to know, you know, they don't know anything about where it is. And she was coming from New Zealand. And all I had was an email. I never talked to her. And then I got an email about a week before they came and she said, oh, I'm going to be bringing my husband. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with this person? I don't even know what their likes are. I've never talked to her. And I said, okay, I emailed her back. I said, why don't you take the train down from LA? And you guys will have a really good time on the train because you'll get to see all the coastline on the way down. And then I'll pick you up on the train. Not knowing anything about this woman or who she was. Well, I picked her off the train. Her husband wandered off and did some sightseeing. And she said, I'd like to have some coffee with you. And I said, okay, no problem. And I thought we were going to sit down and talk about what she wanted to see. Well, the reality is, she said, what can you do for me? And I said, I don't know anything about you, so I don't know what I can do for you. I have no idea about what you do. And she said, I've watched all your videos. I want to hire you. And I said, well, I don't know if you're a good fit for what I do. And so we had a conversation about what her needs were. And now she's the top men's anxiety expert out there, and she makes $16,000 per person. And that's because we went through her program, we went through her book, and we designed everything for men. She was working with women before, and she's so full, she's got a waiting list. But if it weren't for my videos, she never would have hired me.
Ooh, what important lessons. What a very important lesson. Because some people actually will do their own due diligence without even telling you in advance, I'm going to study you. I'm going to check out what you offer on the internet. And you don't know what they will see and what they will think about you. So
I had no idea what she was coming here for. And she came here. I said, why did you come here? You could have talked to me on Zoom or anything. You didn't have to fly from New Zealand. And she said, I needed to get into your energy and find out who you were. And I said, okay, well, now you know. And she said, I'll talk to you in 3 days when I get back to New Zealand. And I want your whole program, everything.
Sounds good. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you for this tip. And viewers, if you don't have a video, nobody can see what you do. And how do you teach? How are you able to tell the world what you are doing? You need people to understand you. You need people to understand what you do. And if you say that you are a coach or a consultant, you better do something to show people that this is what your process is like. Not to say that you need to review everything. It's just like 1 or 2 minutes, or maybe just not more than 5 minute video to at least let people know who you are, what exactly you're doing.
But the reason I set it up on YouTube, I set it up on YouTube so it's a blog. So once they get done with the first 2 minutes, it goes to the next 2 minutes, the next 2 minutes, the next 2 minutes, the next 2 minutes. And then they get, over 10 minutes, they get a pretty good look at who I am.
That's right. So you said that there is a step number 3.
Step number 3 is so easy because you don't have rejection, right? We talked about what your needs are.
You don't even want my payment in step 2.
No.
It's like, oh my God, how come this coach doesn't want to pick my card?
Exactly. But that means now I'm not so eager to take people on. And to be honest with you, I only take 14 people a year. That's all I need. And so I'm very selective about who I take on. So if we get to step 3, which we have now, then it's so easy because I'll just go, hey, Jack, it's so great to see you again. I'm really glad you're here. How did you like the videos? What did you think?
Well, I was quite busy, but you know what? I did watch 50% of the videos that you sent to me, and they look pretty good. And I can't imagine that, wow, if I were to work with you, things might happen that way as I watch the video. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Great. Okay. So that means you've made your decision. You're ready to rock and roll. So what credit card did you want to use?
Well, let me take out my card. So I'll read the credit card number. It's American Express, blah, 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 blah.
Perfect. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to schedule your first coaching meeting. And we're going to really get down to the nitty gritty of the benefits that you offer your clients. And we're also going to look at those contracts because that's one of your biggest concerns right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Then you'll be coming into the mastermind and you'll get to know everybody in the mastermind. And the best thing about my community is we all work together and we all refer to each other. So you're going to have built-in clients also.
Wow. Sounds good. But I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
But I'm very amazed.
Awesome.
I'm very amazed with that. Thank you.
You're certainly welcome. And you'll hear from my assistant because I don't do anything money where that's concerned. And I'll give her your information. She'll run your card tomorrow and then we'll get started. So let's schedule your first appointment.
Okay.
And then we schedule that and that's it. It's done.
Look forward to that. Thank you, Shirlene. Look forward to seeing you.
You are certainly welcome, Jack.
Thank you. So remember step 1, I had no chance to say anything because Shirlene controls the conversation. The beautiful thing about step 2 is that unlike coaches that I know, they are very desperate, they're hungry. Shirlene didn't want to take my card. It's just like, oh my God, what's wrong with her? So this is the amazing thing. And step number 3, the gem that I got from step 3 is, yes, the payment is made, but Shirlene said one thing, you know what? The payment details will be handled by my assistant. And the key phrase is, because I don't handle the money. Can you share with us why this piece is so important?
Because I want you to understand that once I pass on your credit card, all your work with regard to the money will be done with my assistant. And you and I are going to do nothing but work on what it is you're challenged with.
Right. And you see that this is the gem in step number 3. Reason, if you want to have a heart-to-heart conversation, and you shouldn't be blocked by the money issue. So it's kind of like digress the money to the assistant, and then the issue about money is the assistant and me. Shirlene will focus 100% attention on me, on my well-being, and help me to achieve the goal that I want to achieve.
Exactly.
A very important piece in step number 3.
And you noticed how I just asked for your credit card.
Yeah.
Like we were having a regular
conversation.
Right?
Yep.
So which credit card do you want to use is the way to segue into that.
I noticed that distinction too. The beautiful thing about this 3-step to me is that, well, Shirlene is not seen as a salesperson at all because she's not hungry. And she said one thing, I only choose who I want to work with. And I only work with that amount of clients. I take only 14 clients a year. Coaches may think, wow, Shirlene, how do you survive with only 14 clients a year? I need a lot of clients. But Shirlene said only 14. So what's the problem of having only 14 clients? Don't you have enough money for that? How do you survive?
But see, normally, if you had asked me how much my program is in the second step, I would have told you then and given you more time to consider it. But you didn't ask me that. So it's just, and you still didn't ask me that in step 3. But you would have known everything anyway. So, you had time to think it over. You made your decision and you knew what it cost when you went on my website.
And usually people who are very into the details, you don't really need to tell them the pricing information because they are already equipped with all the knowledge. These type of people are very easy to close. Like many people don't know how to, I should have said this because that is like open my trump card to people. Like how do you close Jack? It's very simple. You let him have all the information. He will study, he will do his own diligence. And then what happens is that he will just come to you when he knows that this is for him. There's a saying about me, Jack, here, is that I will close by myself. I don't need another person to close me. I close deal by myself. Yep.
That's why you had 3 days, was to close yourself.
That's right. Of course, if they have different kinds of personalities, you may adopt another way of step number 2, or maybe you have a different strategy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Didn't we talk about the different personalities?
A little bit, but not in detail. Yeah. So
they're all in the book. It's all laid out. You can tell what personality just by how they dress, what their background looks like, how they talk to you. And once you've read Selling Through Your Heart, it's like a referral. You can go back to it over and over and over again. And as you're working with people, you can look in there and define who they are and how best to chat with them. So you did great, Jack.
Oh, you're welcome. And by the way, I didn't fake it. This is actually my personality. And that's why by doing this role play, let people see the world what Jack is. A lot of people will come and close me. But you know what? I'm a very good closer too. It's not easy to close me. If I don't see the beauty, if I don't see that the person is capable, there's no way you can close me too. But
do you want to know how I knew?
Well, go ahead. Let me know.
What personality type you were?
Well, let me know. I don't know. I don't know how you see.
So first of all, you've got your sleeves rolled up.
Yes.
Okay. That's how you dig in and go to work, right? And you've got your button clear up to here.
Right.
And then you've got all your books perfectly lined up, almost on the ledge behind you.
Yes.
And all those goodies are perfect on the wall. Everything is lined up perfectly.
Oh my goodness.
That's a high C, a detailed person.
Yes. I'm super high C. Yeah.
I know that. Yeah.
You can tell.
You're a detail guy. And so I would never take your credit card before you had time to look at the details.
That's right.
Just that simple.
Well, so therefore, in order to be successful in this 3-step process, one thing is, of course, it is practice. It is being observant. And most importantly, have a listening ears. I learned the secrets of hearing versus listening, because hearing is just hearing the words the person have used, but listening is using all sensories, heart, ear, and eyes. So it is a very high level of listening skill.
Exactly.
Yeah. I guess only one thing I would say, Shirlene, this is a very interesting role play. Of course, the more role plays we can do, I can exhibit other elements. I mean, if we really seriously do role play, I can exhibit other elements that make it even more fun, because there's what I do with my team right now, because we have different types of clients, and you cannot use the single way that getting different clients. So I thank you for showing us today these powerful 3 steps.
My pleasure.
And you know what, Shirlene, what I appreciate is that you live in the world of abundance. Because if a person is living in the world of scarcity, this episode wouldn't have been broadcast in the first place. If I am saying to myself that I'm scared of how people rip me off, you know what? Even though the process is trademarked, I would not want to let the world see, because what if someone steal my 3-step process and use it on their own? See, that means that I don't have any more clients. So that is living in the world of lacks. You choose to be living in the world of abundance. Go and take it. Use it if it is useful to you.
Use it. That's why I'm teaching it to you. That is my mission here on earth, is to teach you how to love one another and to listen to others with your heart and get out of the fear and lack position.
That's right.
That's my message.
You know what? I just have one interview with another guest, and he's a very strong leader in his own field. He uses the same word, living in the world of abundance. His mission is similar to what you have. It's like, I just want to let more people see themselves, that they can do great things, not living in the world with the message hidden and not to share. And in fact, what he said is, it's very sad when he see people keep the messages within and don't see themselves that they're good enough to spread the wonderful message to the whole world. So thank you for doing this piece of important mission. As change agents, as we always
My
call.
pleasure.
It is very, very honorable for me to get to know you. And I'm so glad that we actually have done, part 2 of this interview. So once again,
thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing with us these 3 steps.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so once again, you know how to find Shirlene, because part 1, Shirlene has given you all the details. And a final word, or I'll call it wisdom, before I conclude this episode: universe makes no mistake as to why we are connected. Perhaps one day you will be doing what Shirlene is doing, and Shirlene is now lead by the example to show you that you can do the same. If not, you can do even better. Right? So that is what the change agents have been.
Exactly. You always do better than your coach, because then your coach can be really, really proud of you.
That's right. That's right. So that concludes this part 2 of the episode about my interview with Shirlene, the hard selling conversation. So go ahead and enjoy the episode, watch it many times, and do not really just take the words. I believe one thing that we should tell the viewers is, forget the way that Shirlene asks questions, because some of people like me, they will say, oh, I need to do the audio recording to make sure I can capture word for word of the script. Conversation has no script.
I know. No script at all.
It's the essence, it's the principle, it's the context that's more important than the content. I learned this by heart. Not by heart, and by a very, very hard way. Not easy. But you know what? We have made it.
Yes.
So thank you.
Always be authentic, Jack.
Thank you. So thank you, Shirlene, once again. So that concludes the
You're welcome.
part 2 of the episode of my interview with Shirlene. And have a good day, everyone. And I'll see you another time.
To continue cracking the entrepreneur code, subscribe for more episodes and download the Amazon bestseller, Cracking the Entrepreneur Code, 7 Tips to Build the Business You Always Wanted, at crackingentrepreneur.com. Learn more about author and host Jack H.M. Wong and book your 30-minute discovery session to overcome any professional challenge at jackhmwong.com/apply.